Hello, Sam. So, tell us about yourself.
Oh, hi, Beth. So, okay, about me. So, I'm Samantha Deeprose, and I am the founder of Leadersphere Solutions. I focus on primarily leadership and management development, but I'm also an executive coach. Been around the block a while, about 25 years in this space, and beyond working with organizations, I also focus and work with leaders, and I help them rise above the daily operational demands that are placed on them and in their roles. And I really try to help them get more strategic in that space so that they lead in a way that inspires their people and their teams to also perform at their best.
Excellent, excellent.
Oh, a little bit more about me. Um, just to add to the pot, I'm also originally from Australia, and but I've lived and worked in many countries, and I've been in Sweden now for about 8 years.
Great, great. So Sam, we met last spring and you joined my week-long workshop, Confident and Clear. And this is where, of course, we reset our business goals and marketing strategy.
Hmm.
And let's think back to that time, right? At that point, you were about 6 months into your journey of starting a business.
Hmm.
Tell us a bit about where you were at that moment in time.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. So I started the business, and I had some clients already lined up, so was going really strong and was doing really well. Very quickly, I realized what was missing. The next stage of my business was that pipeline to continue with that. So, one of the reasons for coming to onto Confident and Clear was to start to look at that and explore marketing and strategy and building beyond the initial clients that I'd kind of brought on board.
Yes, yes, yes. And I know that, yeah, and there's a lot going on in that first phase, right? When we're starting our business and there's a little bit of overwhelm, there's some procrastination, there's feeling a little lost at times, and then other times it's like, yay, I'm doing this thing. And, but it's a bit of a roller coaster, right? And I know that you had also sought out some help from another coach and
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So I guess that the short answer was I was burned a little bit, but yeah, I'd kind of got the ball rolling, and then was feeling a bit lost and overwhelmed with what now. And yeah, I'd taken on a coach with somebody that I'd known for a long time, and the short answer was it didn't go the way I wanted, and I invested a lot of time and money, and was still standing in the same spot,
Yeah,
months
yeah, yeah.
after. So I started exploring other avenues to try and progress and move
Yeah.
forward.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Right. So then we went through the week-long workshop with everybody. And you were also part of Confident and Clear when I ran it again this past
Yeah,
January.
yeah.
So what were some of the things that you took away from that experience, that kind of group experience?
Oh, a few things actually. So one of them was, or the biggest part, I guess, was there's a marketing is as wide as it is long. It's like the word communication. Like, what do you mean by that? And certainly on LinkedIn, there's a bunch of funnels here and sales this, and different methodologies and get rich quick and all kinds of stuff. But I guess Confident and Clear demystified a lot of that, and just the clues in the title around clear, like, just took away, and you know what, for your space, uh, focus on these areas and get really clear about what it is that you want to market and sell, and then let's look at the right tools with which to do that, and just demystifying, well, what's a funnel, and all the different levels, and you're able to kind of make that really transparent. And the other interesting byproduct of that as well was that I got to work with, because there's a bunch of people from different countries and different industries doing similar or different things, but I got to network with other people, and I still now, a year later, have a really close connection with somebody, and we meet. We're like accountability buddies, and we meet once a month and catch up on our businesses and also offer ideas to each other. So that was the other really nice thing that came out of the first one.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that so much. Like the connections that are made, the
Yeah.
bonding that happens, and just the supportive
Support.
atmosphere, the everyone supporting and rooting each other on, and the
Yeah.
inspiration that we all get from each other in
Yeah.
talking about like, okay, here are my goals now, here's what I'm going after, and
Yeah.
lots of questions being exchanged, and you know, lots of ideas getting clarified, and then ending the week feeling like, okay, I have a plan. I know what I'm about to do now.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, one of the interesting things that you've shared with me is just the also what you got out of it in a sense is after doing the whole week long experience and all the different components of it, from the community to the trainings and the materials and the resources shared and the whole thing.
Mm.
It's really what it is, of course, in marketing terms. It's a challenge. It's a week long challenge.
Right.
And you, I know, felt inspired after it all. So you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to do this in my business someday. And so
Yeah.
that's something that we've talked about and
Right.
we're working towards, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that
Yeah.
self-awareness of, hang on a minute, what's being done to me, if you like, or what I'm going through, actually, people that I work with in my business, and what sparked it was kind of frontline leaders. If I'm honest, around smart objectives is kind of where I made the connection, because in
Mm,
Confident and Clear, we get some information, we have some discussion, and then you go to real life application in the live, like in the moment. So it's not to take away and maybe do later. You're held accountable, but you're doing it in the moment. And I thought, do you know what, this methodology or this approach I could really lift and shift for a different audience, and replicate in my business. So yeah, I was really inspired to follow something similar, in my world.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a future goal for me to work on,
Yeah.
hopefully this year, but as you know, my list is long and I'm forever trying to clarify and prioritize. So if not this year, next year for sure.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and so where you were at too, I think originally when you went through it, you were thinking about your niche, right? And so this is
Right.
something that we continued looking at in the one-on-one session that you opted to do as part of the experience. And I
Yes.
know that during that one-on-one session last year, we talked about many topics, big and small, but certainly one of them was, okay, so who is your audience and what are you going to offer? And how can we look at all the different ideas and kind of
Yes.
sort them, prioritize them, look
Yeah.
at them from different angles in terms of which offer ideas and audience types are you most passionate about? Are
Right.
you most skilled at serving? Which one has the highest revenue potential? Which one has the
Right.
highest market demand? And kind of analyzing all those ideas from different angles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
We
know
did.
that it's hard to let go sometimes of all the ideas, right? When you're capable, I think especially later in life when people like yourself, you have decades of experience, and I love working with people like you because, like me, starting a business a little bit later in life, maybe in your 40s, it's like, okay, wait a minute. I am actually capable of doing quite a lot.
Right.
And it's sometimes deciding what do we let go and what do we take with us as we start our
Right.
business, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. And I think, when I turned up to our one-to-one session, yeah, I had a big suitcase of this is, and it's almost this transition from being in corporate and being an employee and having a CV that details all of your experience and capability that you take on to the next role. And the next role, I kind of had that mindset of, oh, well, let's put that on my website. And quickly we realized when we kind of analyzed actually what can you do, there was this mindset shift from just because you can, you still can, but what are you prioritizing, as you just said, with what's the audience that you want to work with? Because part of being a solopreneur and entrepreneur is that you get some control about a control to focus on your ideal client type, and ones that not only generate revenue but give you passion to do what you want to do. That's the payoff for the risk of going out on your own. And we worked a lot around that. And in fact, and we might talk later in this conversation, but we edited, or we did an analysis of all the things I was promoting on website, LinkedIn, all these things, and we're like, well, yes, you can, and doesn't mean you have to stop, but are we actively promoting that? Because rather than being a jack of all trades, that somebody might hire you, it was perhaps confusing the audiences that I could help most within, well, does she do this or not? It's on there, but um, how experienced is she, or is that a key offering, or is it just one of 100? So that was really
Yeah,
helpful
yeah,
in
and I
that
know,
one-to-one.
yes, and I know we also talked about how sometimes the answer is having some offers that are offered and promoted publicly, and some
Yes,
offers that you have kind of in your back pocket to offer as an upsell, so to speak. Like once you
right,
start working with an organization, you get them in the door with your primary offer. And
right,
then if they need some help with another thing over here, oh, by the way, I can also help you with that. So let's go ahead and help you with that other thing too.
right,
And that can be sometimes a solution and an upsell in a sense, right?
exactly,
So
yeah.
private versus public offers.
Exactly. And we
So
explored all of that. And I mean, that led to actually a refining just with the one session that we had. It was only one session, but we covered a lot of ground. But one of the outcomes of that was to refine my offer, my public offer, if you like. And actually I did take some elements off my website. Well, they're hidden, but we took them off the live for now because they weren't promoting the best parts of my offering. They were just something that I can do. So yeah, that
right,
was one of the
right,
outcomes,
right,
which was really
right.
helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then, the story continues.
It does.
Then you, at that point, you kind of went off on your own for about 5 months. You went off, you implemented some things,
It
you got really active on LinkedIn, and you really expanded your activity and your audience there, and you got some prospects in the pipeline. But then you decided, okay, maybe I need to come back to Beth. You came back on as a full and proper client then in the
did.
fall.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what prompted that? What motivated you to come back at that point where you were at?
Besides you being fabulous to work with. So, that period of time, if I'm honest with you, so I did have a lesson learned in that I did have proposals out and engaging with clients and prospects to work with. And one of the lessons learned in that time was it was over the kind of the summer period where decisions around the type of work that I do typically get put on hold until after the summer period. Of course, being in Europe, you might have similar things based in Netherlands.
Yeah.
So the decision making stopped in the world where I had proposals. So it then became a bit of a challenge, and cash flow became a bit of an issue. So I thought, right, I'll use this time. And I was kind of spinning the wheels and, making loads of things and trying to plan and plan and plan and Excel spreadsheets and, doing a lot of that stuff, but trying to progress forward. After the summer, what kind of came to fruition was I could really do with the extra push or some help to kind of focus and take the next step. So I reached out to you and was saying, I don't know how we can make this happen because the cash flow is a challenge, but I need support to get to the next level. And again, I guess refine and clarify about where we're going, what we're doing. And so in our discussion, one of the things that was really helpful was you were like, well, I've got payment options. If cash flow is a challenge, we can kind of flex how we get the payment organized. And so you afforded me that, which was brilliant. And it meant that I could pay as we go, if you like, and, the payment plan set up. So I could get access to us working together and uh, generate that cash flow to then bring it up. So yeah, that was
Yes.
something that was really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so when we did start to work together, as I always say, start with clarity. We we talked a lot about some really foundational concepts that your brand is built on.
Yes.
We talked about your approach. your unique point of view on leadership,
Hmm.
what makes a great leader,
Yeah.
your unique approach and value, and what you really bring to the table. And through, first of all, lots of conversations, we then started to put it together in a brand new, updated, revamped about page. And
Okay.
actually, let me just pull this up. I think we did such great work here. So here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
So this is where that foundational brand clarity really comes to life.
Yeah, it evolved because what I had originally there was essentially a lift and shift from the CV of the about me on the top of the CV that was quite transactional, clinical, if you like, and one paragraph in
Yes.
length.
That's right. I remember that. It was a lot more kind of formal, professional speak.
Yes,
And this is the shift that you make, I think, when you are shifting from being an employee to being an entrepreneur.
right.
The messaging needs to be different.
Yes,
And so, it's just been so inspiring working with you and
thank
hearing your point of view and your approach on leadership. For example, how you say here that, leadership it's about understanding, engaging, and inspiring people to reach their full potential.
you. Right,
How it's about letting others shine and
right.
grow and creating that space for others.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Rather than knowing everything and because you hold that hierarchical position that everybody needs to follow you because you're the leader. It's
Right.
actually the other way around. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. And so out of that, for example, came one of the kind of taglines that we're using where
Right.
we're talking about helping leaders rise above the daily demands and inspire their people.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, and then of course when it comes to your approach, it's really this approach that's
Yes.
a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about the approach.
So historically, I in this space had kind of the again CV like a list of all the experience and the things that I could do, but my approach really here, if I distill it down, is really that I'm output focused. So a lot of programs or training development for leaders out there is very much driven by input, models, theories, very experienced facilitators and people sharing that knowledge and experience to impart on others. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's a core part of learning. The part where I see the most value is through output. And in summary, it's great to pop it in the head and it's great to have input, but unless it comes out, whether it's through your fingers in emails or the way that you communicate with your teams, it's really just knowledge that you hold, and it doesn't make transformation or change within individuals or their organizations. So I'm very driven by the output and the impact or the results on the board, the results of engagement in your team, the results of performance within your teams, the business results that show the profit margins. All of that can be shown through the development that leaders do on the input side.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and so in different places we really call out the different aspects of your approach.
Right. Yeah.
And
I've
we
met
make
many
that,
leaders that say, oh, yeah, I know all of this stuff, but, this is the point here around that's great to know it. But on the output focus, it's around actually doing what you know. And then you don't have to think about it like driving a car. It's just the way that you lead people. Yeah.
yes, yes. And of course the psychometric tools and
Right.
all of your, credentials and expertise there. And there's a lot on here, but in a way this acts as kind of a blueprint for your brand.
Right.
And I love what you say here too, right? Like organizations and clients seek me out when they want more than just training. This goes beyond that. And
Right.
these are the different, motivations that might motivate people to come work with you.
Yeah.
And so really this is the work I love to do because it's when you actually implement it into something like an about page,
Yeah.
it's getting clear first on the concepts and the things that you want to emphasize about your work and your approach, and then taking it that last little 10% step of putting it into words into something really tangible, like a LinkedIn headline, an about section, and an about page. Um, yeah, so this was really so foundational. This is what we kind of started with, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
then we were working on different things. We wanted to get going with some actions as well right away. And we talked
Right.
about different marketing tactics and ideas. And one thing that we ended up landing on was doing a series of
Yeah.
LinkedIn Lives. And you
Yes.
remember, Sam, we talked about lots of ideas. We landed on this one
Mm,
for a really practical reason, I think, because even though one day you are going to do that like week-long challenge and some exciting things like that, those are much heavier lifts in the beginning.
mm,
And even we talked about, you're such a great trainer and you love teaching as I do.
mm.
And that's stuff you could do all day long. And you could host amazing workshops and you have done that. But doing this as a brand new business owner, it does bring an extra level of stress sometimes, I think, when you're just building the audience and then you have to see, oh, how many people are going to attend the workshop and things like that. And there's also behind the scenes more admin and operational stuff to set into place, automatic emails that have to get sent out and payments to collect and all kinds of things. It can get very complicated.
Yes. And all that
Whereas
stuff is
this,
new to me, still is. Mm,
yes, yes, yeah,
mm,
yes.
mm,
And then we said, well, wait a minute, LinkedIn Live. This is a great idea because there's no stress with how many people are attending or not attending. It's
mm.
just going to happen anyway. It's going to bring huge visibility, more visibility than perhaps if you made it a closed event, like a closed workshop.
Mhm.
So these were some of the reasons why you bravely decided to do this. We jumped in, even though we had never done this. We're like, okay, let's figure out the tech. Let's
Yeah.
figure out all the pieces here, right? How is this experience for you?
Yeah, do you know, you're right. The facilitation part was actually, and the content of the LinkedIn Lives was actually the easy part. And I wasn't particularly nervous about going live on LinkedIn, but I think the tech part and more the how visible is this going to be? What's going to be the impact? And I think we also, if I remember, we also talked about actually, you know what, if you get 5 people on it, if you get 500, this is all a learning experience. You'll get a recording of um, you being live, so you'll be able to use that content for other parts of the business later down the line. There's no downside here, should it be that there's crickets on the other side in the live. So, but it was great because the first one was okay. We got some traction, and I can't remember exactly how many we had, but I think it was like 10 or 12 in the first one, and then the one you see on the screen now is we had like 25 people. Yeah, I think we had about 39 signed up, but we had 25 people in the live. We learned a
Wow.
lot through the tech. You and I explored StreamYard together,
Yeah.
and the nuances of that, and that was brand new for me, and you'd had some experience, and together we kind of built our knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was really great. And the result, particularly off the second one, we had maybe 9 different people contact me beyond the immediate. There were some people on the call that were there to cheer me and support me that were known contacts and colleagues, yourself included. But 9 different people that were new to my network reached out, connected with me on LinkedIn, connected on Leadersphere. Some DM'd
Yeah.
me, etc. So nothing but positive came out of it. Really, it was great.
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing, yeah. And then I know you had some really fruitful calls after that and just
Yeah,
huge visibility and yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it worked really, really well.
yes,
And so yeah, so we've been continuing to work together. I know that one of the things that we do, of course, that I do with all my clients is just, anything that you're working on, whether it's a proposal, negotiations with a prospect, or a LinkedIn post you're putting together, whatever it may
right.
be, I'm sort of that sparring partner on the side, kind of guiding, giving feedback.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah.
But I
And I,
think that's the unique approach that, yes, you are there and through WhatsApp support or, through the files and the folders through, our combined folder, you're contactable, but you don't do it for us and or do it for me anyway. But I learn as I go because you're teaching me to stand the true meaning of a coach. You're not doing it for me in a mental space. You're teaching me and we walk through things step by step, or you create a video to say this is how I've done it the once, you go and do it for future. So it's a really supportive, the sparring partner is a really great word because we bounce ideas off each other, but ultimately I'm the one that goes off and does it and then gets your feedback or that type of thing. So
yeah,
and this was a
yeah.
great example even with this, with the content, doing whether it was LinkedIn lives or whether it's the coaching program that we built, any of those things, it's been really great.
That's right. That's right. And that's the other thing. We put together this
This one, yeah.
signature coaching program that we named Rise. Actually, you came up with that name and I love it.
Yeah,
Because it's all about rising above the daily demands, right?
right.
And so doing this one-on-one leadership coaching is something that you're working on now and promoting now.
Yes.
And together we really came up with everything that this program includes, what the key benefits are,
Yeah,
what challenges that this program uniquely addresses. And
right.
so, yeah, this is also one of the great outputs, I think, of our work together so far.
Yeah,
And yeah, so actually, as we bring this conversation to a close,
yeah.
what else is going on for you? Because I know you have so many exciting projects you're working on with different clients, different projects. Share with us a little bit about what's going on with you and how you see your business growing from here.
Oh, yeah. So it's a bit of a case of careful what you wish for, really. So, the back end of last year, a lot of those proposals actually came to fruition. And so I went, from light schedules to very heavy schedules, so juggling quite a lot. And some of the outcomes have been brilliant. One of them being that I went through a very long selection process, but I'm now recently appointed to the London Business School. So I'm an associate, if you like, but Leadersphere Solutions is working, and I'm a program director for the London Business School, which is very exciting. Um,
Yeah, it's very exciting.
yeah, it's all the new world to explore with executive education. So whether it's executive coaching or building executive programs for their clients, I'm super excited to get on board with that. Oh goodness, I've been doing a lot of ongoing work with some global clients like Equus Software and dealing with a leadership program that I've built for them for 41 of their leaders. That's ongoing. Working with Toyota and their senior leadership to build coaching as a key leadership style for them. So I've been working on that. That happened in March. I've been doing instructional design work in the construction industry with Breeden, who are a European and US based organization, doing loads of work for their management population. So that's been really exciting. And I'm also really focused on exploring the B2C market. One of my key goals for this year is the corporate space I'm very comfortable with and have opportunities, but the B2C market with Rise, we spend a lot of time exploring actually what's the best package that senior leaders would really benefit from, where I can deliver my expertise and help them to elevate and transform and rise up, create space for them to actually do their day jobs even more effectively. That's been really good getting clear on that. And I really want to promote that and embed that as part of one of my core offerings. So that's my immediate focus. But yeah, loads of juggling going on over here.
Amazing. Yes, amazing. Well, Sam, it's been so incredible to be part of your journey
Oh,
so far and see everything that you're accomplishing and doing.
yeah.
Thanks so much for taking the time to share your story with us today.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. It's been a really great journey working with you, and we're not finished yet. We're
Yeah,
we're
we're
still
not.
ongoing. So yeah, I look forward to see what we build going forward. So, but thank you for your time today as well. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks.